Hello, this is David from Excel Consulting, and in this video I'm going to show you Excel's forecast sheet feature. Let's get going. So with Excel's forecast sheet feature, you can start off with data that looks like this, with dates and numbers, 2 columns generally, and you can create sort of this forecast which shows you what it's expected forecast to be, and also the lower and upper confidence intervals around here. So let's get going then. So over here we've got 4 different scenarios. The first 3 are the same, but we're just going to see different scenarios with this forecast sheet tool. So this is data that has annual seasonality. As you can see, it kind of drops. It's growing clearly, but it is dropping around January and then again dropping around April like that. So that's generally the trend here. So it's clearly annual seasonality. So I select my data, I go to the data tab and choose forecast sheet. And then if I just want a quick one, I can just fiddle around with the end date and press create. And that's it. Now it's created this forecast. As I showed you in the PowerPoint slide, this is the forecast line, and this is the upper and lower confidence intervals depending on the pre-established confidence interval. We'll see how to change a few of those. It hasn't really taken seasonality into account, as we can see, so this isn't quite perfect. But I've got some more here that we can do it for. So let's look at the same data. And let's go to the data tab and choose forecast sheet again. So here we can change our options for the end date. So if I go further in the future there, we can see that it's just trending out there further. Obviously it's getting less and less accurate, so these are getting wider and wider. But let's go back here and go to forecast sheet. We also have the options here, so we can choose from more options. Forecast start dates, I really doubt you would want to change that, but I guess you could. If you sort of tab it along, then it will show you what happens there. See, it doesn't even let me do it for 2020. It does do it straight after. So you can change the confidence interval. So typical ones are 90% and 99%. So as you can see, 99 gets bigger, 99.9 gets even bigger. This is pretty trending data, so we can see that the forecast is pretty good. 95 is a good number. You can even take it off if you just want the line there. I wouldn't advise that. This is just changing your ranges once you've already edited it. Nothing in particular there. Seasonality, so you can get it to detect it automatically, but Excel's not that good at it. Set manually is a little bit worse. So I'm going to set this as 12. And then we can see it's kind of following the trend. So in January, it's falling again. And again, a little dip just after March and April. So that's kind of getting it going. I could, of course, see what 24 does. So that, again, gives me a kind of dip around there. And it only looks at it every 2 years. If I do it every 6 months, it won't really give me an accurate answer, and you can see that these are going really, really, really wide, the confidence intervals. So 12 is a good number, and it says you can detect it automatically, but it doesn't work that well. I'll tick on include forecast statistics. We'll just see what that does. And I'm going to click create, and we'll look at these options a bit later on as well. There you go. So that's a little bit more accurate data, and it's looking at it with the seasonality trend. Uses a feature called triple exponential smoothing, which is one of the most valuable and appreciated statistical forecasting methods. These are the different formulas, the statistical formulas that I got it to tick. Alpha, MASE, MAE, beta, gamma, all these things. They are more advanced, so don't worry about these if you don't understand what they mean. Other things to know are that these are all using formulas. So the forecast sheet function is just kind of a quick way of getting these formulas in. They're like a macro, really, to do all these formulas in a certain place. This is forecast.ets.stat. What it does is in here, it sort of replicates the last line of actual data. And then we have here the forecast. So forecast.ets, you can sort of write these out as you want, but these are all the data inputs, but it does it for you. And then these two are confidence intervals. So it's telling me here for 0.95, 95%, that's what we set. And it's telling me it's the number minus the confidence interval, and this is the number plus the confidence interval. So we have here, that's 3 already covered. There's actually 5. Forecast.linear is not really used in this. It's a lot simpler and it's similar to the legacy function forecast. And forecast.ets.seasonality is just a way of reverse engineering and getting the seasonality. The other thing you may notice is that it puts your data inside a table. It does that automatically for you and gives you these captions as well. So another couple of things to show you. You can also do it as a bar chart or a column chart. If you go to data forecast sheet, you can get this one. And I'm just going to leave the default as it is. Well, I'll set this to 12 because otherwise it doesn't give me a regular one. There you go. So the orange one again is in the future. But interestingly, it gives you one less column because this is just the confidence interval now. It's not anymore showing me what it did before, which is number plus or minus the confidence to give you the bounds. It's just using this and formatting them as error bars in an Excel chart. You can add error bars manually, but this has put them in as error bars, just showing you up, down values there. So those are the key differences for that one. Also, it doesn't have that line where it replicates the 3 of them for the current month. It just starts off with the next month, both in formulas. Final thing, so let's do it here. So here we have some gaps in our data. So for example, I've deleted between February and May, between October and January. Excel's feature for forecasting will support up to 30% missing values. So that's pretty good. Any more than that and it just won't work. And I've also got a duplicate here from March. So I've got 3 values in the month of March. Let me make those a little bit more different so we can see what it's giving us there. All right. So let me select this data and go to forecast sheet. In options, there's just these 2 options here. So fill data, missing data points using. You have interpolation, which just means it's blank and in trend with everything else, or zeros. Zeros will clearly just bring everything back like that, as we would expect. So it's not really a valid thing here. Interpolation is probably what we want. And what to do with duplicates, the yellow cells. So average is the default, but if you have max, then it would change a bit. You can have median, you can have min. Those haven't changed very much. Sum will change it, obviously. I really doubt you'd have a sum, or a count would just kind of be random like that. But this sort of changes everything just by having a count. So probably average is what I'd use, but there's definitely use cases for the other type. And set manually seasonality if you know it, like that. There you go. All right, so those are the forecasting features, and that is what I wanted to show you. Thank you for watching.